Hello and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews. It's Gaming Friday. I'm Gary.
And I'm Geoff.
And today we are taking a look at Osiris New Dawn, which came out on Steam in September 2016.
Yeah.
And this is an early access game, which I believe is also available on the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Is it?
Although I haven't actually seen it pop up there yet. I know both consoles have early access games on them.
Right.
But I've not actually seen this one being published or advertised or promoted in any way yet. However, from what I'm seeing from Steam users, this game has a lot of potential. Now it's developed by Phoenix Fire Entertainment, which that's a really cool name for a studio, by the way. And they're a very, very small studio.
Yeah.
And so, but they have created what their fans are calling a AAA game.
Yeah.
This was also published by Reverb Triple XP, which again, never really heard of them, but they've teamed up with Phoenix Fire to deliver this game, which I have had limited sort of. I've only seen a very little bit of this game, but enough right now to catch my attention. And this is an action, adventure, roleplay, MMO, essentially. But the thing that caught me, Geoff, the thing that made me go, okay, I'm interested, was at the very front of their Steam early access page, they have a quote. And it's the oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is, and the oldest and strongest fear is the fear of the unknown. And that is an H.P. Lovecraft quote. And I was like, okay.
Now
So
you're interested.
Now I'm interested. So, Geoff, what's the story?
Well, I don't really know what the story is. There isn't actually much of a story, if we're entirely honest. It's a classic survival. Yeah, I mean, it's you've crashed on a planet.
Yeah. I believe the year is 2046, and you have crashed on a planet.
Yeah.
You were on a second expedition. You were part of the second expedition to this galaxy. Yeah. And you've just crashed on it. Everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. And the rest of your teammates are gone.
You start the game, all you see is this pod crashing down. There's your pod, it's smashed down. You start the game, I died the first time I played this game because your suit's cracked, you're running around, your suit's breached, you're losing oxygen, you got no idea what is going on. You come to this bot, he's absolutely fucking useless, he can't do anything to help you. You're like, I'm dying, I don't know what to do. You're pressing all the buttons, you eventually figure out that you've got some duct tape in your hand on number 3. Use that, fix your tape, then die of oxygen thing anyway, because you don't know what any of the buttons are. But eventually, then after you die, you spawn back here and you've got a fixed suit so you can figure out how to play the game. And then you figure out you can pick up guns. Yeah, got some guns. You start out with a pistol and an assault rifle, which are pretty badass.
What kind of scientist are you?
One that needs guns. And you also pick up this inflatable dome kit. So that is... you start with a scanner as well, so you can find out your longitude, your latitude, you can position yourself. Those little blips are all resources. I'm surrounded by resources. Yeah. And amazing, crazy scenery in this beautiful world, this crazy world. And it's a very sort of deserty one, this one you start off on. But
okay, so right now,
all you need to do is get out your hammer and hit
I'm
shit.
seeing here is a Minecraft-esque No Man's Sky mixed with Mass Effect, merged with Ark Survival Evolved, with elements of Star Citizen. Well, is it safe to say it's a mixture of all those games?
What it is it's a survival game, classic survival game in the vein of Ark, in the vein of Rust, that sort of thing. Okay. But where Rust has got bears, Ark's got dinosaurs, 7 Days to Die has got zombies. This one is
aliens.
Aliens on a farm.
So they pretty much cornered the market. Is there an underwater one? I'm pretty sure there's going to be an underwater one.
There's Subnautica. There is indeed an underwater one. So I mean, in every possible environment that you can think of, that people are trying to make these survival games. They're pretty popular, and if they're done well, they can be really good fun. Like
The Martian was a really good book, and it was turned into a fairly decent film as well. And so everyone's saying yes, this is where you get to play as Matt Damon, because you look like you are stranded on a very Mars-like planet. Obviously, there's a lot more structures. And
there's aliens like this.
And there's aliens, exactly. Hostile bugs. Of course, it's a hostile bug planet. Now, I have seen that there are variations of different bugs, and some of a larger size than others.
Indeed.
The giant arachnid type spider aliens.
Yeah, they're horrible.
And I believe that the planets also have giant spice worms.
They do, yeah.
Thresher maws.
It is brilliant, yeah.
So the other planets are teeming with life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is like it's definitely doffed its cap to other sci-fi that's gone before it, and it's very self-aware of the fact that you're on a desert planet type thing. But what it does quite well, and the graphics are pretty good. Like, I would say, out of all the survival ones, Rust is the nicest one to look at that I've played so far.
Okay.
Obviously, with like 7 Days to Die in that, you've got these elements of Minecraft in there where you can actually sort of terraform the world. You can't terraform the world in this. You can, say, in the No Man's Sky, for instance. You can sort of dig holes and do all sorts of stuff and mine minerals out of the ground. But you can't really do that on this one. So it's a bit more like Rust than it is the other ones, where you just can kind of pick stuff, grow stuff, build up this from
an
arsenal of weapons.
Point of view, because I'm still playing Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
And part of that game is going to strange alien worlds.
Yeah.
Investigating, scanning minerals, finding, encountering alien races, and you getting involved in the war, essentially, the part of the resistance. But what you are also doing is scanning planets for outposts for human colonies to be set up. Mm-hmm. But you don't really manage the colonies that well. Exactly, you kind of make a few decisions, and then you kind of off to another planet and do the whole kind of cycle again. Yeah. And you kind of leave that colony to grow on its own. And I was just thinking, maybe Osiris New Dawn will actually fit the gap within my Mass Effect as to sort of the other game I would play as a twin to it.
Yeah.
Because this game is a multiplayer game. And I believe you can have up to 12 players on a server.
Yep, that's right.
Now, that gets me excited. That gets me interested. Mm-hmm. Maybe, having PvP in the game, that's fair enough. That's interesting, but it wouldn't necessarily be my go-to reason to play the game.
No.
But to have a group of other people that are all big fans of sci-fi movies and games, and I guess that this is a sort of tell your own story kind of universe where every sort of encounter you have, it's one of those where, that reminds me of Starship Troopers, or didn't that remind you of Pitch Black?
Yeah.
And you have that shared experience with who you're playing it with. In terms of this game not actually having a narrative laid out for you, but having an interesting world to explore where there are, I believe, underground dungeons.
Yeah.
I believe the game also has a day and night cycle.
It does indeed, yeah.
So it does definitely
storms turn up.
Add in the whole survival horror aspect to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this is it. Like, because the general premise of these things are very similar, the overall mechanics are going to be very familiar to anybody who's already played these sorts of games, so if I go into my inventory here, I've already started
straight away. That is, as soon as you look at a user interface that is filled with information, I kind of bulk just a little bit.
Yeah, well, like it's not difficult. It's all very much like, as soon as you are into the survival thing, you'll pick this up straight away. So your first thing that you pick up is this inflatable dinghy, so that's your beginning of your base.
Now this, Geoff, is what I am also quite excited about, is base building and expanding.
Yeah.
So you start off with this, which is now...
This is your sort of inflatable dome, so you can get into here
Roomy.
And hide, yeah. And you can open this decrypt station, and I've picked up cryptexes, and you can unlock your cryptexes there at your thing there. But what you can also do is go back to your inventory. So you've got your backpack, which is all your stuff. You've got 8 slots that you can put is hotkeys 1 to 8, and then you've got your structures that you can build.
Okay. So
things you can put in them, utilities.
So you're gonna need to
furniture.
grow food.
Yeah.
Create research, and then start building manufacturing bays, and then you get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Where you can start building droids. And then you can start repairing that horrible shuttle that you crashed in.
Yeah.
And then you can build crafts, actually land vehicles like tanks.
Yeah.
And then eventually get the ability to upgrade them to hover.
Yeah.
Before eventually building spacecraft and actually flying off the planet. And then the rest of the galaxy's there to explore.
Well, not the galaxy. So it's not like No Man's Sky in that you've got a galaxy in front of you. I suppose even No Man's Sky would be many galaxies. I think it was meant to be a whole universe, but so this isn't like that. Now when you were at the loading screen, you saw the solar system. So the solar system's got all the planets named, and I think by the time the game is finished, remember this is still in early access. Oh shit, I keep forgetting about those spiky things. So every time I pump into those spiky things, they breach your suit. You got to get your tape out.
I was going to say, did you land on it helmet first? Because he cracked a lens.
Yeah, I know. I just ran straight into it. But you got to be so careful in the dark when these storms come. Right. So, but then I was like, so when you get to fly out into space, you can get to a second planet. This is still in early access, and they've done a second planet. Yeah. So. I'm encumbered. And so from that point, you're like, okay, this is cool. But they're not two entire whole planets either. They are like sections of a planet, like kind of like a sandbox area on both sections of a certain size, and then they go on seemingly infinitely. I think it just procedurally generates desert out beyond the edge. So you need to, you need to stay within a certain area, otherwise you'll just go for miles and miles and miles in one direction and get nothing,
and then run out of oxygen and die.
And run out of fuel on whatever you're traveling on or whatever. And so it's kind of you won't have any resources or anything.
Just out of curiosity, what is the handicap for dying in this game? If you've built your small base and you've built the expansions into it, and then all of a sudden you die, do you just respawn at the base, or? Yeah,
you respawn at that place where you started, and obviously if you've got any stuff in your inventory, you'll have to go and retrieve it, and if you don't retrieve it by the time you die again, you'll lose it all.
I suppose it sounds awfully familiar.
It sounds
to me
strangely like Dark Souls, doesn't it? So you tend to go out on missions to try and get as many resources as you can. I've just built a box here, and then you tend to end up just chucking everything into the boxes so that it's safe
to clear your inventory, you can go and explore.
Yeah, that's it. And then you build the stuff next to your base that you use to craft with, and just get your stuff out as and when you want to do some crafting. So that's all very similar sort of stuff to the average RPG / survival player. And as you can see, there's a limited amount of stuff. There's only 2 sandbox areas on 2 planets, but there will be eventually a whole solar system, and I don't know if this is or not the case, but I'm assuming that they're going to increase the size of those sandbox areas. I don't know if this is going to be like No Man's Sky and Star Citizen, where they're procedurally generating whole planetoid-sized planets. I think this is going to be... I think this may just always be like a kind of sandbox area type thing. But just so you can fly into space and then fly to the other planets.
So, they've already added, as you said, additional planets. So they were also adding one additional planet, and there's plans to add additional planets, different aliens in different areas, maybe on the same planets. Also increase the amount of the different buildings that you can build and the different vehicles and the weapons. What's the weapons like in the game, Geoff? And how do you level up and get better?
Well, you level up everything by doing stuff. So as I'm hitting stuff with this hammer, my melee skill is going up, and so is my mining skill going up. So I'm like, oh cool, oh my god, there's a monster there. Right, so now I've got to fight this So as I shoot with my gun, I'm going to be and kill stuff. I will be getting skill increases with my rifles.
So how does
heavy
ammunition work?
Small
do you
weapons.
generate power? Do you have infinite ammo?
You got infinite ammo on your pistol. That's about it. You're going to have to get the resources to make ammo for the bigger guns.
Right.
Now you start with the assault rifle and the pistol as long as you're smart enough to find your ammo box and use it, and then take all the stuff out of it at the beginning from your pod. As you can see, the monsters. I set the monsters to a bit harder here, and they're pretty relentless. I can't figure out which one my gun is in. There we go.
So when you create you have the option, you said, of creating a private game or joining a public server.
Yeah, that's right. You can play privately or server. I'm just playing single player at the moment. I'm about to die as well.
So when you play a private server, you literally get the customization options of how dense the alien life forms are on the planet, as to how hostile they're going to be or how much they're going to turn up.
Yeah, you got like nice slider bars, which means you can adjust the rate at which the resources and the enemies spawn, how difficult they are. You can orientate a server yourself towards PvE or PvP. So there you can see my melee's gone up, and that's my combat. Heavy weapons, special weapons, tactical weapons. My mining's been going up, my industrial engineering. If I make turrets and turrets kill things, then my military engineering goes up. And you also got science to do. So all these skills go up, and then once you've got each of those level up, then you've got a skill tree here.
Okay, now I've seen this skill tree before, and I have to say it's not very impressive to look at. I guess it's still to be worked upon. You know, I can see that these are just the color backdrops, I guess, to highlight the different area of expertise.
Focused on engineering.
You can imagine that there's maybe going to be artwork that gets placed on top of these sort of placeholder icons.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's functional at the moment, but
it's functional.
You've got to hover over everything at the moment
in order to see exactly
what
it is.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but the game is very much early access, and it does, you can clearly tell they've got some way to go. But what I will say about this game is, for an early access game, it's very well optimized. It runs very well on my PC, and the graphics are really good.
I was going to say, how good do you think on scale the graphics are? I mean, looking at it, it looks very good. It does almost look like a AAA game. I'm not seeing any texture glitches or pop-ups, and the draw distance seems pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the draw distance up fairly high. That's one of the things you can adjust.
Okay.
But I've got the draw distance up fairly high.
Dynamic lighting, good shadows.
It's got nice lighting, nice shadowing, like a kind of really nice atmospheric sort of dust system. The textures aren't amazing, but they're passable for a game of this size. I mean, as you can see, if you get real close, you can see that they're not.
It's not very good at all. But.
Yeah, but that's it. This is what I mean. Like, if you can get away with a lot in terms of textures and things like that if you have decent lighting and the right atmosphere. So because a lot of the textures will be sort of obfuscated by distance to a certain extent. So as long as they look all right from over here, which they do, and at a distance you get a real sense of nice atmosphere of this place. You get like a desolation, really alien world. Now,
the soundtrack and the music score to the game has been a mixture of a bit of techno sci-fi with a bit of orchestra sort of thrown in there.
Yeah, that's
What do you think of the soundtrack?
I think it's very, they're capturing a feeling with this game. That's what they're doing. They're capturing a feeling of kind of like that classic 60s, 70s, 80s sci-fi.
It's quite a big spectrum of music.
Yeah, I say 80s is very like only just the early 80s, I would say. But that kind of like
before
sci-fi.
It became really militarized music.
Militarized, dirty. Yeah, it's what was kind of being captured by the No Man's Sky thing, I think, which people really kind of latched onto and loved, but they didn't deliver on so much.
Yeah,
is that feeling of like kind of just being in a completely alien world, but that kind of like explorative, pioneering space exploration.
That was literally going to lead me to my next question for you. Was how good is exploring this planet? How do you feel? You're like, oh, this is a new area. Can you tell how far away you are from your base? Can you fast travel, or do you have to walk back and forth?
Well, you can build vehicles eventually, so that helps you go around, and you can move around really quickly once you've got spaceships. So the progression is natural and quite well done, and obviously you get, like, say, you'll be able to sprint faster. It's a bit like Skyrim. The more you do stuff, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
So that progression, it feels very natural. You're in a constant battle against whatever the alien life is. So it's nice to get more fortified. Your base got like loads of turrets around. Like some of the progression is the actual establishment of your base.
Yeah.
And establishment of your defenses. But yeah, I mean, it just feels like you are really sort of like setting down a new civilization on this planet, and you're up against the hostile life that's here, and you're kind of lonely doing it. It's just like you and a couple of your mates. You're out here, and there's nothing else here really. And it's the fact that you're focusing on this planet and trying to build something up on this one planet. It's quite good. It's quite an exciting, and it, like I say, it looks really nice. It looks really funky. They've concentrated on all the bits that are fun about establishing a colony,
but without the actual colonists.
Yeah,
from what I can see, because as you described, it is a very lonely experience, and I guess the more time you spend alone on this planet in this game, like the worse it gets. I don't know. And then I guess you're then encouraged and forced to go explore this new home of yours.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I can't imagine your base is going to grow the length and breadth of the sandbox area that you're playing in. I mean, what happens once you've harvested all the minerals and rocks and...
You've got this scanner to help you around. That's about it. Like that, the range of that scanner is the range of what you can see. So you can kind of like put beacons down and put other bases down around the place and map out the area.
Is there any dialogue in the game? I mean, we saw that other robot at the beginning.
Yeah.
Does he communicate in any way? Is there any other sort of AI, human, or otherwise?
Not really.
It's just totally.
Yeah. It is just like it's fairly open-ended. It is just about that survival, and you get this kind of PvE thing going on. I mean, I think it's ripe for setting different kind of game modes with different kind of game challenges. You can have this sort of general survival thing.
You imagine other colonists warring with other colonists because they want more iron and the other ones want more magnesium.
And this is it. Like Rust has gone very, very PvP.
Yeah.
So this, I mean, is open for PvP and could very well end up being that way. But also similarly, if they do all sorts of things like PvE kind of challenges where they say, like 7 days to die has always been really good, because every 7 days you're going to get invaded by a horde of zombies that are just going to be incessant all night long.
Yeah.
So you've got 7 days to build yourself up to survive through that night. Now, alright, there's not much penalty for death, but as with all of these games, so they should be able to make it so that you've got like game mode where if you're dead, you're dead, and then you got to see how long you can survive. And you got to start from scratch if you die. And you can have a game mode where you it's almost like tower defense, like you say, like every 7 days or every set amount of time you're going to have a shitload of aliens come and attack your base. So you've got to get your defenses up that's going to handle the ever increasingly difficult waves of so I mean, there's the potential for all sorts of things to go. It's still in early access, they're still developing it, but it looks very promising.
Absolutely, yeah. When I look at this game, I see so much potential for it, but at the moment, as it's in its early access, that's all I see. I don't see a complete, full experience here for me yet. From what I've gathered from other people that have played the game, on average, there's about 15 hours of content in the game.
Yeah.
But this was a couple of months ago. I mean, the game has been out for nearly 6 months.
Yeah.
So more content's being added to it. They're still developing it, and so it can only get better because everything else from what I've seen works. It doesn't seem very buggy or glitchy. It seems like a solid foundation to really build something great.
Yeah.
Music's there, graphics there, gameplay, you know, the core base of fans for the game are already there, whether because they like the survival sort of base building mechanics in games. I can only see this game getting better. But at the moment, but the other great thing is that its early access price is under £20. So I'm guessing it's under $20 as well. So it's half the price of a lot of big games.
Exactly. Like, this is the thing with early access games. If you really do see the promise in them, and you think, yeah, this is going to be something really good, I like the way these developers are working, it is an opportunity to buy that game for like half the price of what you would have to pay when it comes out as AAA. You get in early, you get to try a kind of demo of it, go away, forget about it, come back 2 years later. Oh, look, I already own this game. Look, it's got really good. And you come back to it, and there's quite a few games which are in my library which I've tasted when I first came out, and they were buggy or horrible, and I've come back a year later, and I've gone, oh, look, the devs have really made something good out of this. So,
that was Vermintide, I believe, was the last example of that one.
Vermintide was very good, yeah. That was a really good example of where they've sorted it right out. And yeah, I think this is the way games are going now. The market is so overburdened.
Oh, it's happened, isn't it? It doesn't look like it's ever going to go back to the way it was before.
No, that's it. There's way too many people out there developing good games. A lot of people are great developers have gone indie. They've sacked off the publishers, and the way that Steam has done things has made things very easy for independent developers, or for AAA developers to leave their AAA publishers and just go off and do their own thing
and make the games they actually want to make.
Exactly. So but you know, like, the restraints of that is that it's not going to be polished from the moment. It's a much rawer, open source development experience. So, but also at the same time, you kind of get to develop more of a community around these things. You get to become more familiar with the developers and their attitude. You're a bit more involved in the actual, like, you get to know more about what's involved about making the game and that sort of thing. You become more understanding of how games are developed. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die
so
for everybody to finish.
Do you recommend Osiris New Dawn, Geoff?
Well, all I can say is I started playing this. See, now I'm fucked enough that I'm just losing oxygen. I'm gonna die. I cranked it right up. I've just been messing around because it's just been I've been mostly chatting. So I would have defenses up by now otherwise. I love it. It really captured my imagination, and I quite liked Rust, but I'm not hugely into the PvP. I really enjoyed the 7 Days to Die. But it's like Snore Zombies. This looks, and it's not very good graphics on that. It's much more like closer to Minecraft than it is to, say, Rust in graphics. I'm itching to get on Star Citizen. Star Citizen is a step above everything else. No Man's Sky I wasn't interested in. I knew it was just a tech demo for procedural generation and what could be done. So that all of those have positioned themselves. You know, I've taken my position on all those sort of similar, the stuff that's similar to this. Star Citizen, obviously, I'm waiting for it to come out. In the meantime, this was something that was, I know. It's coming to get me!
You're not even safe in your own bedroom. Oh my god!
No, you're not. They will eventually kill your base. But, yeah, so I think it's something it's great spacey stuff. It's multiplayer. It is actually fun to play. It's better than No Man's Sky. It's more my thing than Rust, and it's a change from Zombies. So that's why I bought it, and I've got it, and I've been really enjoying the atmosphere of it, and just like playing it with my mate
Scott. Just haven't found the zombie planet yet.
Yeah, that's it. Playing it with my mate Scott. We played it for a good few hours. I'll go away from this and come back in a year's time and probably be really impressed with all the stuff you can do on it now. So I would recommend it. It's not probably for everyone. I think you've got to be a fan of the genre, the survival genre, or you've got to be like me, itching for just anything that's decent space until Star Citizen comes out.
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, you've got Elite Dangerous. You know, there's loads of
lots
space
of
stuff
alternatives
trying to ride the success of Star
Citizen.
Citizen.
This one has potential and is definitely very interesting. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's one of the nicer looking ones, and it shows really good promise for the way the devs have optimized it, and you know, it looks like a tidy, well put together piece of software. So
definitely,
yeah, I recommend it.
Well, that's going to be the end for Off the Shelf Reviews this Gaming Friday. We're back next Friday with another video game review. Of course, film reviews on Thursdays. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Patreon. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.
See you next time.
You're just going out there with your hammer.
Yeah, and my light. Switch my light on. See my death. This is where it gets...
Well, I don't think it was going to leave you alone, was it?
this is where I'm no Riddick, basically.
No. Just punch you right in the face.
I need a sword, a machete.
They look like giant facehuggers running around. Oh! What the hell happened there? Just flattened you straight away.